Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Cloverly Academy. My name is Sophia Wardell, and today we have a very special guest, author, speaker, and founder of Brighter Day Press, Whitney Newby. Whitney Newby is a writer, artist, and founder of Brighter Day Press, a ministry that creates literature-rich, gospel-centered resources for family discipleship. Whitney is also the author of Lift Your Eyes, Daily Devotions to Behold Christ in Motherhood. Thanks for joining us today, Whitney.
Thanks so much for having me.
Of course, we're excited to have you on to talk all about publishing. So, Whitney, what are some of the biggest takeaways from your publishing experience?
So, this was my first book that I published traditionally. And honestly, what I came away with was that I need to feel so proud of the final product because I am the one that's going to be marketing it for the rest of my life. And so the decisions that were made along the way about the title, the cover, the content needed to align with what I felt really passionate about and really comfortable with, because ultimately it's not the publisher that's going to be selling this book, it's me. And so I wanted the book to be a true reflection of myself.
Right. And what would you say was the main inspiration to start Brighter Day Press? And what were the biggest challenges you faced in launching your first product?
Yeah, so I launched Brighter Day Press in June of 2020, so right during the pandemic. And our first release was called Morning Time, and it was just a guide for families of how they could spend their mornings in a meaningful way, reading the Bible together, singing a hymn, memorizing scripture together. And it was really just something born out of what was really working for our family, and I wanted to share with other families. But originally, I put it up on a website, threw it up really fast, and said, would anyone be interested in this, a digital version of this? And a bunch of people were, but they wanted printed copies. And so right away, I was scrambling for, okay, where do I get these things printed? And that was really the first of so many times when it felt like, okay, I've got to just figure this out for myself. There is no written plan on how to progress in this business without just doing the hard work.
Yeah, that's amazing that you did that. I want to know what your best advice would be for authors in creating content for a faith-based or family-focused audience who want to maintain both ministry and market impact.
Yeah. I think we can get really caught up in what we're supposed to do as far as how many reels we're supposed to post and how many, to work the algorithm. But I think in ministry, what really matters is that you are authentic to your message and you are constantly in prayer about like what the Lord would have you to share. And so I think it's more about obedience than like beating the algorithm. And then people will see that what you're sharing is genuine and they'll want to follow along. And I think growth can be really organic.
That's a great point. I think whether you're faith-based or whether you're writing for a genre that isn't necessarily faith-based,
Yeah.
if you are true to your brand, I think that people really quickly realize the authenticity.
Yes.
That's something authors really need to do and not try and please the audience of what they think they'll like.
Yes.
Just be yourself.
Yes,
And you will
totally.
attract those people that do really want to read your book or your
Exactly.
devotional. Um,
Exactly.
Now, I want to know, could you share what the editorial and design process looked like? And also, how involved were you in the art direction and layout?
Yeah, so I was very involved because I actually did all of the art on the inside. So there are 60 watercolor paintings throughout, and I did all of those. However, once I submitted those, it was kind of up to them where they would be placed. And ultimately, I gave a lot of direction. I had a Pinterest board. I came up with a Canva document that showed some other ideas from other books that, the color scheme and the layout. I wanted it to feel peaceful and restful and kind of minimalistic and not overwhelming or too busy on the page. And they really nailed it. So ultimately, I would say I had final say in the art direction, but also I really trusted the team to handle that part, and they did so well. And then on the front cover, they gave me 5 or 6 options for what the cover design would look like. And I chose one and then made some tweaks here and there. But overall, that was up to them as well.
Well, that's great. You really need that collaboration and a good team to kind of convey your vision. Now, I want to close with just asking Whitney, what are your top tips for first time authors looking to turn a devotional or curriculum idea into a
Mhm.
finished published product?
Yeah. I think my first advice would just be to keep writing, keep doing what you feel, called to do, and as obedience to God first. And then I would also just say, if you're feeling like this could be a book, it may be worth your time to find a literary agent and talk this over with them, because they can really help you create a book proposal and then shop that to different publishers if you're wanting to go the traditional route for publishing. But really, overall, just keep doing what you're doing, because you never know, even in 10 years, you may look back on that content and be able to rework it into a book. And that's what happened with me. I had 10 years of blog posts that I was able to kind of rework and reformat into a book.
Well, thank you so much, Whitney. That was wonderful insight on publishing.
Thanks so much for having me. This was fun.
Lastly, where can our listeners find and connect with you?
On Instagram, I'm at Brighter Day Press, and we're also at brighterdaypress.com, and you can find all of our resources and my book there.
That's all the time we have for today. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in to today's interview with author, speaker, and founder of Brighter Day Press, Whitney Newby. Be sure to check out our website for more videos. Wishing you all a fulfilling and successful writing journey.